Fresh Florida strawberries, only $5.99 for a 1-pound package. Fresh Purdue chicken thighs or drumsticks, only $1.99 per pound. DiGiorno pizzas, 12 inches, hot price, $8 each. Bluebonnet margarine sticks, 1-pound box, only $1.69. Ajax 2X laundry detergent, 50-ounce bottle, only $5.69. All stores open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, February 7th. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us tonight. After 7 weeks of speculation and indecision, comes word this evening that Governor John Rankin has finally given approval to that domestic partnership bill. This means that gay marriage has officially been reversed, with domestic partnerships now the only option for same-sex couples, although gay couples married before today will continue to keep their status. In a statement today, Governor Rankin said he had agreed to the legislation after careful consideration of his responsibilities under the Constitution. Walton Brown Jr., the Minister for Home Affairs, has welcomed the news that the governor has given assent to the domestic partnership bill. Senators voted in favor of the controversial bill back in December 2017. The governor had sought to consult with the UK Foreign Territory Office before giving assent. Meanwhile, Chris Bryant, the pro-gay British MP, tonight taking to Twitter to criticize Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson for allowing the governor to approve the bill, stating, quote, "This totally undermines UK effort to advance LGBT rights." Former Premier Michael Dunkley issuing an apology to Speaker of the House of Assembly Dennis Lister. It comes in the wake of Mr. Dunkley's letter to Mr. Lister questioning the legitimacy of the Joint Select Committee set up to look into the events of December 2nd, 2016. A protest against the proposed redevelopment of the Elif Wade International Airport turned violent, with a number of protesters being pepper sprayed. Mr. Dunkley, in his letter, informed the Speaker that while he is willing to provide a statement to a Joint Select Committee, it must be one that is properly constituted. As we previously reported, he does not think that this is the case in this instance. Speaker Mr. Lister took issue with Mr. Dunkley over the letter, berating him for supposedly providing members of the media with copies before it was seen by Mr. Lister. In his apology, Mr. Dunkley states, "I have known the Speaker for some time and have developed respect for him. The Speaker feels that I was being disrespectful to him in releasing the letter yesterday. Then I wish to apologize and assure him that was not my intention. I have confidence that the Speaker will be fair and uphold proper decorum in the House." He adds, "The first session showed this to be the case. I wish to correct a media comment attributed to me. I did not inform the media I delivered the letter to the Speaker. I delivered the letter to the Speaker's temporary office just after 9 a.m. on February 6th. Well, there is concern expressed about the handling of that emergency landing of an American Airlines aircraft at the Elif Wade International Airport on Saturday night. Workers telling Bermuda Broadcasting News decisions taken during the event could well have placed the entire airport facility at risk. Gary Moreno tells us more.
Workers who spoke with us in condition of anonymity contend when the aircraft, which was bound for Brazil out of John F. Kennedy Airport in New York, landed at Elif Wade International at around 12:40 on Saturday night, it should have been taken to Apron 5, better known as the Finger. This as it was suspected to have a fire in the cargo hold. Instead, the Boeing 777-200 aircraft with 200 passengers on board was brought up to the arrivals gate, something workers argue was perhaps not the wisest decision, given it was a cargo smoke indication which led to fears of a fire, and there are aircraft fuel lines and storage facilities beneath the surface of the arrivals area. Not to mention the nearby tank farm, which we're told stores emergency aircraft fuel supplies. The work is suggesting perhaps airport management should revisit their policies and protocols for handling such situations in the future. Questioned about the workers' concerns, Aaron Adderley, president of Skyport Corporation Limited, which manages Elif Wade International, explained while he understands the workers' anxiety, proper safety protocols were followed throughout the event. According to Mr. Adderley, The diverted American Airlines aircraft landed from the northwest on runway 12, in other words, from over Ferry Reach, and came to a standstill near the Clearwater end of the airfield, at which time awaiting emergency response vehicles from the Bermuda Fire and Rescue Service assisted the aircraft using thermal imaging cameras designed to detect heat as per its normal operating procedures during such an event. At that point, there was no apparent sign of fire, and the decision was made to allow the aircraft to taxi to the main parking apron of the terminal under escort. This, Mr. Adderley said, would allow passengers to immediately evacuate the aircraft using steps rather than unnecessarily engaging the emergency slides at a remote parking area. A slide evacuation, he added, can often result in injury. Hence, the use of the steps helped to mitigate this particular risk. Mr. Adderley further explained the aircraft was ultimately parked at the farthest gate on apron 1 from the main terminal building, where passengers quickly and safely disembarked. And perhaps ironically, Mr. Adderley pointed out to us that the coordinated emergency response by Bermuda Fire and Rescue Services on Saturday night was similar in nature to an emergency exercise held just days before, thus highlighting the importance of the emergency program here at LF Wade International. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Friends, family and colleagues all gathered at Government House earlier today for the swearing-in of a new Minister of Social Development and Sports. Earl Baisden reports.
With this shake of hands with the governor and a round of applause, Michael Weeks was confirmed as the Minister of Social Development and Sports. After congratulating the minister, Premier David Burt was asked just how much pressure he will be putting on the minister in his position.
I expect that by the end of this parliamentary session that my entire cabinet will be diamonds, because I place a tremendous amount of pressure on all members of the cabinet. And I place a tremendous amount of pressure on all members of the party in order to deliver on the mandate of which we've been given. It is a very serious business, the governance of this country. And over the past 6 to 7 months, we've realized the challenges of making difficult decisions and making sure that we execute on the agenda which we're given. But we laid out a platform, and we're going to be holding true to our platform. And not only Minister Weeks, but the other 9 members of cabinet and myself are working daily to make sure that we can deliver. So the pressure for him is immense. The pressure for all of his cabinet colleagues is immense. The pressure for our backbenchers are immense, because people expect delivery. They expect results, and they expect us to progress on the issues of which they voted us here for. And so from that perspective, lots of pressure, but I'm certain that all of us are up to the task, and we will do it collectively together.
Weeks, who is no stranger to social development or sport, had this message for those in attendance and the wider community of Bermuda.
As the new Minister of Social Development and Sport, as the Premier said, I come with a list of accomplishments that I've done in that ministry. But as we know, you're not judged on what you've done. So I pledge to work hard. I pledge to be the best that I can be. And I'll tell the people of Bermuda that my decisions as minister may not always be what you want to hear. But trust me, that Michael Weeks would always make a decision that is fair and honest.
Sears is Bermuda's largest home appliance store with over 200 appliances in our showroom. We have refrigerators and freezers, gas ovens and electric ranges, washers and dryers. Sears has a wide selection of craftsman's tools and accessories. Beautify your home with our lawn and garden tools. We have everything you need for outdoor entertaining. Located at 41 Victoria Street, Sears is open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sears, reliable delivery, quality service, and everyday low prices.
Step into the next generation of sinks, faucets, tubs, and more with the bold look of Kohler. Choose from a range of whole room solutions, or let an individual piece be your guide for a feel-good, look-good quality. Pure inspiration at your fingertips. Kohler's Next Generation Showroom at BAC.
From happy beginnings and life choices that we make along the way,
Colonial protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits
family protection, and long-term financial plans.
Business insurance and generous employee benefits.
For happy beginnings to happy ever after, visit CGIGroup.com.
Colonial, where people come first.
Welcome back. A visiting U.S. preacher says he wants to show local Christians how to get ahead in what he calls the ongoing spiritual warfare. Bishop Bill Hammond is on island for the first time and is a guest of the Evening Light Pentecostal Church. But as Tarai Trott tells us, some of his views are controversial.
The Bible says that when righteousness reigns in a nation, it prospers. If righteousness doesn't reign, then the devil has his way.
That's the message Bishop Bill Hammond has brought to the island, having been introduced to the Premier and other top officials. Dr. Hammond, who lives in Florida, runs Christian International Ministries, in which he oversees 800 ministers in the United States and 5,000 ministers around the world.
Is it correct that you believe that Christ cannot return until Christians on earth form a militant army?
That's half right. Acts 3:21, the Bible says, Christ is held in the heavens until the restoration of all things which God has spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began, which says that Jesus is held in the heavens until the church fulfills its destiny and purpose. I'm a restoration person. For 55 years I've taught on the restoration of the church.
In his preaching, Bishop Hammond tries to prepare Christians for what he calls spiritual warfare.
I'm raising up an army all over the world to go against the devil. Not man. Bible says our battle is not with flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. So what I'm doing, I've done this in 30 nations, 200 churches around the world, and I teach people how to do spiritual warfare.
Many have warned the world will eventually see a third world war, something endorsed by the preacher.
I believe there will be, because I know there's one final clash where in Revelation 19 where it says Jesus comes back with his saints as warriors and they fight against the Antichrist and destroy them and cast them all in the lake of fire.
However, Bishop Hammond's visit to the island is not without controversy. One local activist who called on government to block his visit took to social media to accuse him of homophobia and allegedly calling for gays to be put to death.
Yeah, I got notice of that. Everybody's got a right to their own opinion. Everybody's got a right to think what they want to.
What's your views on gay marriage?
My view is what God says in his word.
Which is, for those who don't read the Bible?
Well, they can go to Romans 1 and a few other scriptures. Just look it up in the Bible. That's it. Because your opinion, my opinion, doesn't count. What counts is when we stand before God, God's opinion.
And is it his position that gays should be put to death as claimed online?
He has said that your preaching has said gays should be put to death. I need to clarify that is your belief.
I never said that. He quoted the scripture over in, I think, Deuteronomy or Judges 23:10 something, where it says if they're dead. I haven't said that. There's several things in the Old Testament people were put to death for under the Jewish law. Just if you curse God, you could be put to death. There's numbers. But what I've said is that I said anybody that's contrary to God's order and God's ways, they're under God's judgments, really. But God loves the world, and he gave his son on the cross to whoever would come to him could be saved through his blood was shed on the cross. So God is a God of love. He's not a God of hate.
So you do not believe gays should be put to death?
No, it's ridiculous.
And that was Tarai Trott reporting. You're invited to attend free blessings from the bishop at the Evening Light Pentecostal Church on Parsons Road, Pembroke, starting this evening at 7, and again Thursday and Friday evenings. You may also register for this weekend's seminars being held. For more information on these events and the bishop's visit to the island, you may call 292-4869. Now let's head over to the AccuWeather headquarters for the latest.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
Good evening, Bermuda. This forecast has been brought to you by the BF&M Insurance Group. I'm your AccuWeather meteorologist, Daji Aswad, and we're seeing just a few clouds out across Bermuda, across our current satellite. But we will see our next shot at some showers and rain as this frontal system pushing off the east coast of the United States progresses into the Atlantic. But we'll get to that in just a second. Our current conditions here across the island remaining in the upper 60s as of now. Humidity at 83%. Winds out of the east-northeast 8 to to 12 knots. We will see waves in the reef 1 to 2 and waves out running 4 to 5. Tonight's forecast on the warm side, mostly cloudy conditions, cooling down to 67 degrees. As we head into tomorrow, that front begins to move into our area and really will be moving over us into the late night hours. So expect some showers as well as an uptick in cloud cover here across Bermuda tomorrow, reaching a high of 72 with a low of 65. Now, if you're on the boat, we don't have any advisories out as of now. Our next high tide is expected at 2:28 p.m. on your Thursday. We saw our first one at 2:25 p.m. this afternoon. With that being said, no advisories out as of now, but don't be shocked if we see some gusts come in with our next frontal system. As for our getaway forecast, Toronto topping off at 19 degrees and cooling down to 11, looking quite cloudy. New York will see some sunshine as we head into tomorrow with a high of 34. Boston also looking sunny. Miami, a possibility for some showers with a high of 84 and a low of 73. Current conditions here across the Caribbean, some showers expected out towards Barbados and Trinidad, and some peaks of sunshine possible, reaching a high of 86 in Trinidad with a low of 71. If you're in Jamaica, more in the way of partial sunshine, and we'll be cooling down to 72 in the island of Jamaica for tonight. Extended forecast here across Bermuda. That front moves through late on your Thursday. We'll see our best chance for wet weather Thursday into our Friday morning. As we head into the Friday afternoon, most of that rain will begin to ease off. Showers, I should say, should ease off here across Bermuda, and then into Saturday. Still some lingering moisture behind that frontal system, but it should be a mostly dry day for the rest of the weekend. Temperatures, we see they're not dropping off one bit, remaining in the 70s here for your Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, even into Sunday after that dry air moves in. And look, some sunshine for your Sunday. So the whole weekend, like we said, will not be a washout. We're expecting most of that wet weather from the front to taper off into your Friday and Saturday. Then as we head into your Sunday, dry air really pushes in, reaching a high of 71, and even starting the work week with dry air and some sunshine expected as well here across Bermuda. Back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
All my life is changing every day, in every possible way. Then I open up and see the person falling here is me. 'Cause you're a dream to me.
Made with care, handled with care, delivered with care. That's what dreams are made of.
The whole concept came from the collaboration with BF&M and the America's Cup. The Endeavour program is the legacy of the 35th America's Cup that was here in Bermuda in June. And we've continued the charity now operating in Bermuda. And going forward, we thought, what a great opportunity for children on the autism spectrum. And hence we actually developed the No Limits program. They really do benefit from this kind of outdoor experience, this environment. You know, just yesterday going off the east end of Bermuda, I mean, they wouldn't have done that. Not many children in Bermuda have done that. And just them learning to take control of a large bit of transportation that they're doing at that age, and they may never get that opportunity.
That's where you see the biggest progress is whether they were looking at their hand steering, you know, it's now they're looking forward and actually looking where they're going, because they've realized, oh, I know where my hand is. I can do this without looking at my hand.
We are so grateful for the Endeavour program and what it has done for the students on the autism spectrum.
It's one of the biggest industries on island, and one man is making it his mission to educate the public and professionals on the ins and outs of the insurance sector. Malcolm Butterfield has taken the helm as CEO of the Bermuda Insurance Institute. Tony Waterman sat down exclusively with Mr. Butterfield, who shared his vision for the BII.
It has done well over the years, some years better than others. However, my intention is to take this whole organization to the level that it needs to be at, so that we can define ourselves as a center of excellence, particularly in the areas of professional development, career development, training, and knowledge management.
When you take stock of Bermuda's insurance, reinsurance industry right now, what is your sense?
This is a mature industry. It will always be regarded, and I would say still regarded, as a thriving industry. It has had its peaks and valleys for various reasons, but it is still an important industry to Bermuda, and it is also a significant industry globally. You know, a big part of what's happening, even in Bermuda, we just is the mergers and acquisitions. You know, that's people will view that as shrinking. I think yes, your industry will shrink, but I think as a result of these mergers and acquisitions, I think the industry will become stronger and will become better. One of the headwinds that I think we'll face is containing the cost of doing business. We have lost business through the cost of doing business here is just getting too expensive. For example, administrative areas that used to be done here in Bermuda are now pushed offshore. A lot of these companies are doing it outside of Bermuda because it is cheaper, because it is real that we have to recognize and have to adopt ways to try to keep our costs down, and I'm afraid that's the way it's going to go. Yes, it will impact jobs, but then we have to find ways to invent and create more jobs in Bermuda.
But again, this goes back to a talent.
That's right.
A talent issue.
It's a talent issue.
Is the talent there? Are they being trained now as opposed to when that transition is already happening or those jobs are already gone?
And this is, again, where the Center of Excellence concept that I talked about with the Bermuda Insurance Institute will become essential. We're not a charity. We may have charitable status, but I want the industry to look at us as a significant and a much-needed corporate entity to help to build that talent pool, to help to build the training, to help direct the educational system. This is about everything working together. We have students now coming through the high schools, getting ready to go to university. Well, how do we harness that to make sure that they're being trained in the right areas to come back and take up some of these positions? And it's not an overnight thing. In the interim, we may have to use overseas people, but we have to find ways to create jobs for our talented and well-educated Bermudians.
Part of reinventing yourself is really, in this day and age, about harnessing the power of technology, and blockchain is something that is disrupting a lot of industries, but it's a tool that they could really use to diversify and become far more efficient. Do you think that here in Bermuda there is the proper infrastructure in place to really take advantage of that type of technology?
Certainly we can improve quite a bit in our infrastructure, particularly in the technology area, in the IT area. It's very competitive, but I will go as far to say that the telecommunication industry, in my view, still has a ways to go to get us to the point of being a global leader in some of these areas. And I think you're going to have to be a global leader in your infrastructure, whether it be IT, whether it be technology, to attract this type of business to the island.
The new sports minister is ready to get to work. Future Winter Olympic hopeful competes in Vermont, and former Olympian carries the torch in Pyeongchang ahead of the Winter Olympic Games. Earl Basin has the details in tonight's sports report.
Michael Weeks was today confirmed in the position of the minister responsible for sports. Following the swearing-in ceremony, we asked him how he plans to address some of the issues around sports in Bermuda.
Well, you know, when a lot of times when we talk about assisting the sporting and community clubs, we think the bricks and mortar, you know. But I want to talk to their executives. I want to listen to the concerns of the various sporting bodies and see what we as a government can do if we have not done something in the past. What can we do to enhance the overall product? Because I really and truly believe that sports is a way out for a lot of young men and women, you know, and if we could get them more involved in sports, we would very well see a lot of our antisocial behavior decrease.
John LeJour competed at the NORAM Cup at the Killington Resort in Vermont. During the men's moguls event, LeJour would finish 40th overall with a score of 65-19. Over 300 runners took part in the Bermuda School Sports Federation's Middle School Cross Country Championships at the Arboretum yesterday. Work Academy student Adriana Argent pulled away on the last lap to finish with a strong win in the under 13 girls division, clocking a time of 13:29. Her schoolmate Daria Desmond finished second in 13:42, and Summersfield Academy's Maisha Sharif finished third in 13:46. Work Academy comfortably won the division with 41 points, followed by Salters Grammar School with 68, and Bermuda High School finished third with 78 points. Jake Brislane from Salters Grammar School won the under 13 boys race ahead of schoolmate Oslo Adamson with a time of 11:52, while Adamson finished at 12:08. Tajai Gota from Work Academy finished third in a time of 12:42. Salters' top 5 runners finished in the top 14, leading them to victory in the category with 29 points. Work Academy finished second with 70, and Summersfield Academy finished third with 94. Front Street Mile winner Taylor White from Work Academy won the over 13 girls title with a time of 13:43. Summersfield's Zoe Hasselkoss finished second in 14:10, and TN Tatum's Amelie Cabral finished third in 14:15. Bermuda High School claimed the team title with 39 points, followed by Work Academy with 52, and Salters finished third with 92. Kazai Seeley led Whitney Institute to the over 13 boys title, winning the race in a time of 11:34. Salters Grammar's Tommy Marshall finished second in 11:40, followed by his teammate Jared Lines. Whitney won the team title with 34 points, followed by Salters Grammar with 48, and Work Academy finished third with 80 points. Christian Eben, Magnus Ringstad, and Rachel Bechart are representing Bermuda at the 2018 International Optimist event in Argentina. Following day 1 and after 3 races, Eben leads the Bermuda fleet and is in 32nd place with 39 points. Eben finished 9th in the first race, which was followed by a 17th place finish in the second. Then he would close out the day with a 13th place finish in the final race of the day. Ringstad is in 101st with 101 points, while Bechart is in 105th with 103 points. As we reported previously, MS Emlyn Bermuda branch, a global reinsurer with offices in Bermuda, will be the title sponsor of the ITU World Triathlon Series that will take place in Bermuda on April 28th. The event is being branded as MS Emlyn World Triathlon Bermuda. Rob Wyatt, the CEO of MS Emlyn Bermuda branch, was asked why it was important for MS Emlyn to sponsor this event.
To be honest, it came about because Phil very kindly saw us involved with the Rugby Classic, and he came and had a chat with me, and then I took it to the wider team downstairs, and to be honest, it was just so obvious for us to get involved in this. I think just the whole of our office is crazy about sport, obviously with the Flora Duffy connection, and also we're huge fans of the Brownlees as well, so it was just such an obvious one for us to get involved with.
Yeah. Phil Schmidt, the local organizing committee chairman, gave us an update on the course approval.
The course is fantastic. It receives very, very positive feedback from the elite athletes as well as the amateur athletes and the national federations around the world, the British, the American Federation, and so on. It's a spectacular course in that it has elements like Corkscrew Hill, which are very, very challenging but also iconic. And at the same time, it is very central. It is in town where all the people are going to be anyway because they're going about their business and shopping. And that will hopefully contribute to an atmosphere that will just be like unheard of in triathlon.
Leticia Lima Ferreira and her Mount Allison University women's volleyball teammates went down 3-1 to St. Thomas. Mount Allison went down in the first game 25-14, but they would draw level 1-1 when they won game 2 25-20. However, St. Thomas would go back in front 2-1 when they won the third game 25-22. They would close out the match with a 25-23 win in game 4. We end tonight's sportcast with Patrick Singleton, the Bermuda Broadcasting CEO, as well as former Winter Olympian, who was earlier today carrying the torch for the Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
You can count on us.
Your choice of potatoes, 5-pound bag, only $4.49. Fresh certified Angus beef, high round roast, only $5.99 per pound. Grace corned beef, 12-ounce tin, only $3.49. Ringo pasta sauce, 24-ounce jar, hot price, only $2.79. Old time honey wheat sliced bread, 20-ounce loaf, hot price, of only $3.99. All stores open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
Your home, your life, security. Be fire and burglar free. Right from your phone, monitor, control. Lock safes, doors, gates, business, family safe. You're on the go, and that's okay. BSG with you every
Bermuda Security Group, your security, life safety, and monitoring experts. We're with you every step of the way. Bermuda Security Group, BSG.BM.
Walter Urban, the Transport and Regulatory Affairs Minister, had a tour of the Seoul Petroleum Fuel Plant in St. George today. He was joined by the Acting Permanent Secretary for the ministry. Seoul is a leading provider of fuel supplies and an essential part of the delivery of energy to retail and commercial consumers. The minister commented he has been eagerly learning as much as possible about each sector of Bermuda's energy matrix. And that's our broadcast for this evening. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for watching. Good night.